Has anyone ever experienced this concept of a food baby? You know, you go out to eat and you literally feel like you're carrying a child in your belly afterwards. It's not good.
No.
Even sticks out a little bit. You know, you kind of do the before and after in the mirror. Well, what if that food baby was actually something much worse? That happened to our next guest, Shorente, who's joining us today via Skype. So, Shorente, explain to us what exactly was going on.
I was getting really, really bad period pains. So, but I just thought, I don't know, I didn't pay any attention to it much. It wasn't until I lost a bit of weight that I started to notice my stomach wasn't moving. You know, everything else was dropping off, but my stomach was just there. I thought, this is weird, it feels hard, there's no way I could be pregnant at all, so let me go and speak to my doctor. He said, okay, I'm going to refer you to get some scans done. And after that, they found out that there was some fibroids in my womb, one really big one and one smaller one. They said my uterus was about the size of someone who was 4 months pregnant.
Wow.
Yeah, and that the only way to get it out, it was via a C-section procedure. So yeah.
And looking at you now, it sounds like you're doing well. Is that fair to say?
Doing really well. I'm healed, completely healed. The operation was a success, and I can have kids as normal, and everything's good. And periods.
That's great news. That was my question. If they had to remove part of your uterus, I guess they didn't. So you're ready to have kids if and when you want. That's awesome.
And I'm glad that we highlighted this because obviously fibroids are very common. I want to bring into the conversation board-certified obstetrician, gynecologist, and reproductive endocrinologist and fertility specialist, Dr. Millie Behera. The majority of women may experience fibroids, right?
Yes, most people are so surprised when they hear the real statistics that fibroids are found in up to 77% of women in their lifetime. So it's important to know what some of the warning signs are, so when you can diagnose it early, you have more options for treatment. There are several options that you have, but the warning signs to look out for would be bleeding. A lot of women have heavy bleeding with their periods, but when it's important to notice that it's time to seek help would be if you're changing every couple of hours with your menses, if you pass large clots. Those are times to seek help and say, is this normal, or could there be another reason for why my flow is so heavy? Also, pain with your periods, as Shorente mentioned as well. Pain with your periods, pain with sex. It can affect a lot of organs that are sitting in the same area. So it can affect the bladder and put pressure on the bladder, pressure on the bowel. So those are other warning signs as well. And then finally, also it can affect fertility. It can also be a reason for miscarriages. So these are all things to really be looking for, to say if things are changing over time, maybe I should see why, or what could be changing with my body, or could there be a reason that may not be normal and I should look into help? Because if you catch it early, you tend to have more options.
I think it's one of the great things nowadays. Obviously, so many women suffer from fibroids, but you mentioned it, Dr. Behera, so many options now. In the past, women thought, oh my gosh, fibroids, hysterectomy, and clearly that is not the situation in the majority of cases now. Thank you, Dr. Behera, for sharing that great information. Shorente, best to you going forward.